got Jasal Group, Rarecoin.
I already did it, guys.
How you doing, man?
I was already on it. I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Okay. What's up, Aaron? How you doing, man?
I'm good.
Cool.
Nice Sunday
Thanks for
morning here in
joining us.
Chicago.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Did that snow finally let up, or is it still snowing out there?
Actually, it poured rain here all day yesterday.
Nice.
Oh, dude. If it's not one thing, it's another, right?
Yeah, and today we've got 50-mile-an-hour gusts. So it's a mess right
miles
now.
an hour. Jeez,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So
Yeah,
what were you up to?
I've got a couple of.
Yesterday?
I was with my kids, hanging out. Trying to think what we did. We were just all over the place. Here, let me show you my. That's the city.
Wow. And that's
Here,
from
do
the
it through
Harley
there.
J. Berk offices right there?
No, that's from my bedroom.
Nice. Dude. So you're in one of those high rises just outside
Yeah,
of the city?
that's Soldier Field. That's Soldier Field right there.
Dude, that's
And
amazing.
that's the lakefront behind it. Isn't that cool?
Wow. Talk about
Yeah,
prime
pretty,
real estate.
Yeah. I got a good deal. I'm renting, but I'm getting a good deal here, so works out. And I'm only 2 miles from work. So
How many?
2 miles.
Oh, that's not bad.
That's pretty epic.
So we want to say what's up to a few people on the feed. We have Jasal Group Rare Coins with us. We have my wife, Mrs. Lass. We have JCR Coin and Currency. What's up, man? We got Slab City Precious Metals.
Slab City. Thanks for being here, guys.
We have Chell 1470. Glad to have you all with us. We've been working with Aaron for a little bit recently because Aaron has kind of headed up the Roundtable TV on Facebook, and that's how we got connected and found that we had a lot in common right off the bat as far as the kind of content we want to create for the industry, how we want to help out the coin market, how we want to move it forward. And so it was really cool to connect with these guys. I think we've got a good start here.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the Great American Coin Hunt too, which is coming up later this year on the National Coin Week. What is that, in April of this year?
That's correct.
Yeah.
So we're right there. I mean, it's is it coinciding with Central States, the Great American Coin Hunt?
Probably around that time period, but I think it's going to basically be, I think April itself is National Coin Month in general. So it's just kind of, there'll be a starting point, but it's really that from that point on going forward.
Oh, yeah. Even Chell commented below. Yeah, April 21st to 27th. Okay, yeah, that's it. Cool.
Yeah. Thanks for the spot on the date there.
Cool.
So, and I'm sure some people will be dropping after that as well. So just depending on what kind of situation they have set up in their area. So everybody's got all kinds of different concepts there. There is a website, I don't know if it's up yet, I'm pretty sure it is, that's being developed on different ways to disperse the coins and what some of the ideas of that people are doing across the country. So it's pretty exciting. So
yeah, and that's kind of an interesting point as far as dispersing the coins goes. For this reason, some people are spending the coins. They're going to a gas station, they're going to a grocery store, whatever the case. They are actually circulating the coins. Some people are hiding them.
Right.
Can everybody hear my pug barking in the background? It's like super distracting. He sees something in the backyard he's really excited about. I'm going to go move him. And so
he sounds
John
like he's got like an inner bark.
Yeah, he does. He does.
It sounds like he's barking in a closed room or something.
This is Java the Pug, everybody.
All right. There you go, Mr. Pug.
Java.
Yeah, he's a little 2-year-old pug, but he's got tons of energy.
Yeah, so yesterday I actually went to the West Coast Collectibles sports card and comic book show. It was in Pomona, and I met the guys over at SGC, which is Sports Card Grading Corporation. Interestingly enough, they're based in Florida, but they have no affiliation with NGC, which to me was just kind of interesting because they kind of have that similar type of name and logo as NGC, but they have no affiliation. My guess is that these guys want to be acquired by NGC at some point in time. They're around the corner from them. Anyway, so here's one of the cards they gave me. It was a Magic Johnson certified. It's graded 9. You can see the logo up top. If you can see it, I'm not sure how clear it is, but the SGC logo. But yeah, kind of fun.
Yeah, very cool.
Little certified sports card of the Magic Man. Just figured I'd share that with you guys.
So,
very
Aaron,
cool.
Do you know of anybody that has taken video of them dispersing the coins for Great American Coin Hunt yet?
No, not at all. And I know, like, for my company, what we're going to do is I send out around 2,500 to 3,000 catalogs of our ancient coins and world coin and antiquity catalogs. And we and that's all over the world, but I've got probably out of that, there's probably 2,000 of those are domestic across the country. And what we're thinking of doing is just adding a couple of coins, a little packet into each catalog with information on the coin hunt, and having each one of those individuals disperse those coins in those areas. That'll give us a big widespread push, instead of just us going to different stores and trying to disperse them that way. Why not get coin collectors that are already into the hobby helping out the best that they can? So to me, that made the most sense to do that. And I already have the distribution for it, and I already have the catalogs going out. So adding a couple extra ounces isn't a big deal.
That makes a lot of sense, man. It makes a lot of, it's actually a really cool concept too, a really good idea. And I think it's going to make people feel a little more involved in the process. And it's just, it's a great way to bring people in. That's exciting. Really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, totally. Ultimately, yes, we want people to find coins in their change. That'd be great. And there's going to be all kinds of ways for us to make that happen. But also, we just want to make sure that the hobby grows and we get more and more people interested in it. And if that means that a coin collector that I have of ancient coins gets some modern coins, modern US, and they decide to give them to their nieces or nephews or whatever the case might be, to me, that's just as positive in this whole thing. And that's also going to grow the industry in ways that we're looking to do. We're trying to get excitement for the industry as well as grow the industry. And I think another way of doing it, we've been talking about working the regional shows a little bit more. The problem is a lot of the big shows, one of my employees brought this to my attention. He's absolutely correct. If you go to like the ANA or Long Beach, or we're going to the Baltimore show next week, these are massive shows. And by the time the weekend comes around, everybody's gone. Anybody who's important is gone. And
sure.
And anybody who is starting out collecting, or anyone who's starting out collecting either can't get off during the week because they're working 9 to 5, or or they have kids that they want to bring. So kids can't usually get off during the week. So those Wednesday, Thursday shows, Friday shows, people can't show up to. So, and if they do show up to them, I've been told a lot of the larger dealers don't give them the time of day because they consider them to be tire kickers. And they're doing we call, a lot of times the dealers call Saturdays and Sundays, if there's a show over the weekend, they call it tire kicker days.
Right.
And if you walk around to some of the larger dealers, they leave one guy at the table with some catalogs in their case and no material. So, being a new collector or bringing kids to a show can be one of these larger shows. I think we're not growing the industry at all in those scenarios. We're actually turning people off to collecting. Because if you're not a big time collector with a lot of money, you're going to end up going to that show and feeling like garbage. So, but if you go to your local show where it's the same people all the time, these little tiny regional shows, where they'll bring their kids because they're usually over a weekend in some cases, and it's a lot of mostly lower end material. But what if we were able to show up to those shows, a couple larger dealers in those areas, and really start to work the industry and letting people know about the coin hunt and actually trying to grow our industry from that level. where you got people showing up and wanting to be, they're part-time coin dealers, basically.
Right.
No, Aaron, I agree. And to me, Friday and Saturday, Sunday, those should be days of growth. They shouldn't be looking at those as days of trying to get more counter sales. They should be looking at those as days to develop and days to grow and days to nurture and try to come up with more creative ways to bring the public in. Ryan and I were at the Long Beach, this last Long Beach show, and over at the U.S. Mint booth, they had these almost like U.S. Mint comic book cartoon coloring things and stickers. So when the kids went up, they were kind of given this little packet and these little personalities of U.S. Mint figures and stuff like that to really kind of trying to bring the kids in. And I'm like, this is great. We need more of those types of things. Even the Boy Scouts have a merit badge for coin collecting. And to me, these events need to really embrace the Scouts and say, come on, guys, come to our events. We will set up some corresponding, education with you guys to further develop the program. That's what needs to be done.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it just, and I think even the Boy Scouts probably go to these local shows more than they would the bigger shows, just because they're their backyard. And if they want to get their merit badge for coin collecting, it's easier for them to go to a small little regional show that's in their backyard than to go to some massive show that most dealers aren't going to give them the time of day.
Sure.
And the other problem is like the ANA and some of these larger organizations, we go to these shows and they're like Tuesday through Saturday. And by the time Friday rolls around, everybody's ready to go home. We're exhausted, and so to deal with trying to grow the industry at the end of the week, with many dealers that have already the clientele don't understand that you're sitting there for 10 hours a day in a convention hall with no light, and it's depressing actually. And you're sitting there, and because of the internet, a lot of people aren't traveling to shows as much as they used to, so most of these big shows are just wholesale shows.
No,
and
I agree.
It's a joke.
And Aaron, the show promoters, I think you do a much better job of pricing and incentivizing to the dealers. I mean, what if they said, okay, guys, we're going to give you Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday as X amount, and Saturday and Sunday we will pay you to stay. We will give you 40% off your Wednesday through Friday rate if you stick around on Saturday and Sunday the whole time. And be there exhibiting to the public. I mean, I think they need to incentivize the dealers better to stick around.
Or have a Thursday or Friday start at 4:00 and go later into the evening instead of running during the day when most people can't get off work.
That's
so they're, a lot of people, still those dealers, even if it was free, they wouldn't stay, unfortunately, because it's an extra day of hotel. It's just, there's more money involved in having to stay out of town. That's why I think attacking them at the regional shows is really how we have to build our industry. And a lot of, I know that there was a show locally, which I didn't make it, which of course I didn't make it out to. But I was told by my guys, my US guys, they were like, well, nobody goes to that show. And I said, well, that's the problem. And they said that one of the bigger dealers went and turned around and went home, and he was from California. And I said, well, yeah, that means that there was no big dealers there for him to, work good deals with. And so, you end up with a lot of beginning dealers out there that, are the same type that are really, frankly, the beginning of our industry, new collectors and new dealers across the country. And so they're really the only way to bring new people into the fold is because, look, the other problem is if when you're a new collector or even a new dealer and you show up to a big show, you are just so overwhelmed. There's like no way, you go in and you see, 500 tables. I mean, where do you go? I mean, it's really overwhelming.
Stop at every single table in the whole board floor. So how do you even pick which table you go up to?
Well, and if I was telling my guys, because at my company we sell U.S. coins, world coins, currency, antiquities, ancient coins. So we have a lot of different departments with people doing different things. And I told a couple of my my lower staff, not the senior staff, but the the beginning staff. hey, if you guys go out to that show and you bring some, mid-range or lower price items, you probably can do really well, and you'll probably create some new connections for yourself.
Right.
Because that's important for them as dealers, because they're, we just took on a new guy. He's got a great eye, and he's hungry, and sitting in the store waiting for people to walk in the door is not how you do business anymore.
Right.
You got to go to shows, you got to be on the internet, and you have to make connections for yourself. So I think that it's definitely an incentive for a lot of these younger dealers to go to these shows, especially if they represent big companies, because they'll not only be doing themselves a favor as growing themselves as a dealer, but also they'll be helping out their company and helping out the industry at the same time. Because, if you go to a lot of these little shows, you get mostly garbage. So what if you brought some nice things? Maybe you won't sell them, but at least then the dealers and these new collectors know that there's great material out there that they can actually hold and see and feel.
That's great advice, man. It's great advice. Really.
Absolutely. Because I don't know about you, but when I go to shows, I generally go around and see who's selling what and what kind of quantities people have in cases. When I go to Long Beach sometimes and I'm looking around in these cases and people literally have buckets of circulated coins, I'm like, what kind of impression is that creating for A, all the rest of the dealers in here, but B, the public that may or may not be collecting and then go in there and think that's what coin collecting is?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. It's a totally different perception. If we go to a small show, we have what we call our junk bins. A lot of dealers have them, especially if they're going to a regional show. It's just stuff that's accumulated, doesn't cost us a whole lot, and we try to dump it at these small shows. If you take the same buckets to a big show, nobody looks through them because it's so many dealers there, and somebody just wrote, I can't walk through an entire show. Nobody.
Right.
Yeah. So are you going to really stop?
Kids.
Right. So you're going to really stop at somebody's bucket of $2 junk coins and spend an hour and a half going through them? No. But if you take them to a regional show, you probably sell out. So, it just depends on what you're trying to go after. And that's why shows have kept dying over the years. That's why they're getting smaller and smaller and smaller. I mean, in my opinion, I haven't been to Long Beach in a long time, but the Whitman show is as big as some of the A&As now.
Yeah.
And A&A used to be a massive show. It just not is anymore. And, in ancient coins, the Europeans don't come over at all except for the New York International. You get a couple of the Germans that'll come for the A&A and a couple other shows, but really they only come over once a year now. And I don't blame them. Why would you want to come all the way to America, spend all the money and all the hotel and all that stuff and not sell anything or just do some wholesale business? That just doesn't make sense. So shows have just completely changed. And I don't think that the larger organizations and the larger shows, well, I can't say the shows, but really the larger organizations have taken hold of that and learned that you're not going to build up the industry through these larger shows. You got to do it through grassroots programs. And that's why the Great American Coin Hunt is a grassroots program. This is what we're talking about. This is how we're going to grow our industry. We have to get dealers involved, collectors involved. We got to make it exciting. And it's not just, one event like the Great American Coin Hunt. It's everything that we're talking about here. Educating the public, bringing people into the fold, seeing how we can reach out to the kids. I mean, it just goes on and on. That's part of the reason, we're doing this video contest on Roundtable TV.
Right.
It's to not only get collectors involved, but we've had, I had a 13-year-old kid who found out he has a YouTube channel on coins. And it's great.
That was so awesome. I saw that yesterday and I was like, yes, man, that's awesome.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool.
So, that's what we want to see. And so how many of us have searched through YouTube and noticed that there's X amount of kids that have YouTube channels on coins, and they actually have decent followings on top of it. So, these are the future collectors and dealers of America, but they're not going to shows either, probably, they're just kind of winging it, going through their local coin stores. It's sad in a way.
On Facebook. They're buying coins on Instagram.
Yep.
So the marketplace is definitely changing. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
I think that's why some of the things that Roundtable is doing is so important in sort of funneling the attention or getting people to congregate around some similar ideas. And I just want to take a minute to talk about the video contest you have going on. for Roundtable, because that's one of those aspects where we're kind of getting people to participate in a central location. And what I'm most excited about is a lot of these guys that are submitting these videos are doing so for the first time. They're saying, hey, I've never made a video before. Here's my first try. And a lot of them have actually been really good.
And Classic Kid, I see your comment down there. I thought about starting a YouTube channel before. You know what? Make a video. So submit it to the Roundtable TV contest
on Facebook.
Facebook, now's your chance, man. I mean, put something.
You can also share it. You can also share it on the YouTube channel too, because if I get them there, I can just paste a link to Facebook. It's the same thing, man. As long as we can view it, that's fine.
Aaron put up, I think, what, $1,000 of your own money, cash.
Yeah, well, now we now decided to have a Roundtable cover that, so
nice.
So that's fine.
But
yeah, it's probably about.
First. You were gonna put it up, whether Roundtable did or not. So respect, man.
I was.
I thought that was really cool.
I have a tendency to want to make things happen, and I don't want to wait on politics. And not that me or the guys at Roundtable have any negative politics, but I didn't want to create any just in case. But luckily they Rob Oberth, who I work with very closely and who's a great guy and good friend, he basically came to me. He's like, "You're not paying for that." I was like, "Okay." Fair enough.
So there's 10 places, right? The first place is a $450 cash prize.
It's 500 for
500
first place.
First, 250 for second.
Yeah, 150 for third, and then I was going to pay $50 out from 4th to 10th. So
all you guys have to do is make a video, and there's a really good chance you could be walking away with some cash in your hand. There's no reason not to spend 3 to 7 minutes making a video real quick. So make your video today. Jump on Facebook and go ahead and send Aaron a message or Roundtable TV a message.
Or you guys.
Get that video in. Yeah.
Or you guys.
Great idea.
I don't
know how much time you have, Aaron, but do you want to talk about Artified a little bit?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
I got plenty of time. My kids are in the other room. I told them not to bother me. So
they're sitting there with their iPad, or they're on like PUBG or Fortnite. Or
they're on
right?
Snapchat and everything else. So
the things the kids do nowadays. Yeah. So
but they're not barking or howling at the moon, so they're good.
That's good.
Yeah. So when we first heard about Artified, it was several months ago when John initially got in touch with you, and we thought it was such a cool idea. The way that you have a collaborative way that people can authenticate items. Isn't that kind of how it started?
Well, what I wanted to do is create crowd vetting because I feel like without getting myself in trouble, the slabbing companies do a righteous job at what they do, but I think that we all can agree that there's problems with it. There's problems with the system, and we dealers know what the problems are, but we don't really have any way to solve it. And I felt that the best way to solve it, you've got CAC, which is basically a vet. John Albanese put his name behind it, but it's just a vet. That's all it is. Eagle Eye, it's a vet. These are just these are just extra feel good comments for the item that you're trying to buy or sell, right? And depending on who puts their sticker on it, it's going to add a certain amount of value or more saleability to the piece. So imagine going to a website and looking up that piece and seeing 1,000 or 5,000 comments about the same piece that's embedded in blockchain technology. That's kind of where I was going with it. I felt that blockchain technology had some great points that we could use for the coin industry and collecting in general. Everybody gets scared with blockchain because they think of Bitcoin and they think of Ethereum and they think of, I just lost my butt on this stuff. But it isn't about the cryptocurrency. It's about, if you take all the cryptocurrency and you move it to the side, you move that curtain aside, there's all kinds of amazing technology that makes it possible, called blockchain technology. And if you studied it and you understand it a little bit, you'll know that the crypto is just a residual of blockchain technology. And so you can use blockchain technology and that same technology to create a register and actually embed code that is not what's the word I'm looking for? It's not breakable.
It's not editable.
It's not editable. It's also it's impossible to crack as well. Now maybe it'll get cracked somewhere down the future with artificial intelligence or something like that, but that's for the future. So so I felt that if I could create a type of vetting process using blockchain technology for coins, antiquities, and collectibles, that I would be doing a service for the industry, as well as creating pedigree lines as well. Because with ancient coins, pedigree is so important. It's not so important with U.S. coins, depending on what it is.
Unless it's like Eliasberg or something.
Right.
Or
but with ancient coins, with ancient coins, because of all the restrictions that we're going through right now, we cannot import certain coins into the U.S. Based on specific restrictions at CPAC, which is a committee that frankly has been stacked with archaeologists that are against collecting. And so they give the State Department and Customs the right to create laws of what we as Americans can import into this country.
That's crazy.
So of course, the first thing that passed was the Italian restriction in the year 2000. It was in fact the last thing that Bill Clinton signed before he left office, and it was mainly for antiquities. And we were able to lobby to keep coins off of it. It comes up every 5 years, so they've now put coins on it. So now that they did with Italian coins, is they said we were able to keep it to just being indigenous to the region during a certain time point. So that's Roman Republican coinage. So once the Roman Empire expanded, then it's impossible to know who owns something, because if the Roman Empire controlled Spain or France, which was Londonum, and it was minted there in ancient times, who owns it? Does France own it because that's where it was minted? Does Rome own it because they own the whole world? Maybe it was actually found in Germany. Does Germany own it now because that's where it was found? So it's impossible to know who owns these things. And because ancient coins traveled, they were mass produced, you cannot really put them on the same point as antiquities, which are mostly, though some did travel, most of them are indigenous. And also you can't decipher between a vase and a facade of a building. They're both antiquity. So it's really impossible at that point. So because of all these restrictions, it's very important to have pedigree. So anything that's before 1970 is part of the UNESCO treaty. And that means that museums and universities can purchase, right? So that means that all governments, for the most part, where these source countries, where these coins came from, it's off limits if it's before 1970 in general, even though some of that has been challenged by the Italians and the Turks and other things like that. So, but because of that,
Aaron, is that coin dealers that are lobbying to try to get their coins to stay in their local region and keep the U.S. from getting access to them?
It really is just about the revolving door, right, into the U.S. So it's really just about what coins can come in here. Once coins are here, they're legal. You can buy and sell and export them all you want. It's just about what can come back into the country. So now if I have a Roman Republican coin that I want to import in that is on the restriction, if it doesn't have a whatever it is, 2005 or 2004 date, it can't come into the U.S. anymore. So, so it's changed the game.
Crazy.
So that, and also certain coins and even artifacts, if they have a early pedigree, especially if it's pre-1970, I can add double, triple, quadruple the retail price, because that's what they're bringing now. And part of that is because
crazy, man.
I know part of that, and it's more with antiquities than it is for coins. Coins, I think it does increase the value, but then maybe not double or triple. But a lot of these coins, whether it's U.S. coins, world coins, ancient coins, everything's going to auction these days. And that's another problem with our industry right now, right? Because now we have small businesses that aren't surviving anymore, and that's why we don't have storefronts anymore, because everything's going to auctions now. And
the internet is kind of the modern storefront. I mean, people
it's
don't
the
want
internet,
to leave their homes.
Yeah, it's the internet, but it's also the auctions. So the auctions have now created, and look, now nobody has any problem spending 20% commission or more on buyer's fees.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, when I started in the business, it was standard 15%, and and we felt that was a lot. And there was people that were offering zero still, you know. And now you can, in some cases, Heritage will offer over 100% to the seller. So it's a huge incentive to get things to auction.
And them raising their fees doesn't seem to have impacted their sales. They went up to 17.5%, kept growing. Now they're at 20%. They keep growing. So
and that's just for coins.
Right.
I'm sure for artifacts, or not artifacts, but antiques and things like that, they're at 22, 23, 25, because that's what Sotheby's and Christie's are, and people like that. So, so now you've got the upper 1 or 2% fighting over the best quality items and the best pedigrees, and these things are bringing huge prices, right? So what do you, now I'm just talking about ancient coins and antiquities. So what do you think happens now if you're in one of these source countries and you're a scumbag smuggler and you see that a coin you just found brought $50,000? You know, it's more incentive for them to steal. So it's a huge, huge, huge problem. And I could go off forever about this. But the point is that with blockchain technology, we can tie in some of the pedigrees, because if I have a coin that I know came from grandma's collection and I know it's legit, because us as dealers are pretty good at reading people generally. We've seen enough BSers in our lives to know who's BSing and who's not. But if there's no pedigree, because guess what? Nobody cared about keeping receipts back in the 60s or 70s or even 80s. And so, I mean, these are the days of walking onto a plane and smoking and, you know, all this stuff. You know, nobody gave a crap. You know, so none of that stuff has been kept. And also, and I'm sure you guys have seen this too, husbands, which is primarily, it's a male dominated field, not only dealers but collectors. We're hoping to change that with Roundtable.
We got to work on that.
We're trying to work on that. But you know, they're hiding what they buy from their wives, you know, and so they don't want their wives to see the invoices, so they throw them out. You know, and so
some guys will even tell us, don't send me an invoice if my wife sees this. I'm in trouble. I'll be sleeping on the couch.
Exactly. So now as a dealer, we get those coins, and unless you're lucky enough to find it in an auction, which sometimes we're able to do, and that's a great incentive for us, but most of the time you can't. And guess what happens if you know, archaeologist would say, well, you don't have paperwork, it was just looted yesterday. You know, it's on the same playing field as that. So now if we were able to keep a record online of the pedigree and the movement of ownership between one person and another and time stamping it, that's going to be a huge advantage for us in the future for being able to keep this material flowing through the collector base, as well as adding value over time.
Well, and that could help potentially thwart thievery in the future. Say the community was able to authenticate something and keep a record of it in the blockchain, then went to sell that coin later and it was stolen, you'd have that immutable record. That, man, Artified has such huge potential. What is the kind of the next step for it? Are people able to use it already, or is it still in development?
It's just a white paper at this point, just a concept. You know, so I started it last year with a good tech friend of mine, and we were trying to get investors, and we actually went to the biggest blockchain conference that they ever had in New York this past year. And it was, I mean, just to get in the door, it was $2,000 a ticket. I mean, it was
good crazy. Lord, for a
Yeah.
consumer or for a an exhibitor?
Anybody who wanted to show up. You couldn't get in the door without $2,000 a ticket. And they sold the entire.
That's really restrictive.
They collected like something like $25 million.
Wow.
What? Yeah,
Dude,
that's crazy.
That,
So now imagine
Lord.
now you're with 10,000 people, which are the greatest minds all across the world, all with concepts and ideas, and they're all looking to get funding. Guess what? You're just in a sea. You know, it doesn't mean anything.
I mean, I've been to some of those. Not that specifically. I was sent by one company to represent them I'll just say it. It was Monaco sent me to represent them at the Money Show, which is the same kind of thing. It's an investor conference, but you go onto that exhibitor hall and you're competing with the hottest marijuana companies, the hottest tech companies,
oil and gas, pharmaceuticals,
the next Facebook. You know, I mean, like,
which they're all backed with VC money, and they've got millions and millions and millions of dollars behind them. And you know, so then I came back to the drawing board, and I was like, well, we got to try to get people interested in our project. And so one of the ways we thought we would try to do it was through gaming. So I created a numismatic game for Apple, and a web version as well. And it's pretty much finished. I just have to probably put another $5,000 into it or so. But basically what it does is that I've got a working version on my phone. So what it does is it brings up a picture of a coin and asks you questions, and then you answer them. And if you get the question right, then you win points. And we were going to try to turn those points into our token, which then they eventually would be able to purchase coins and movie tickets and other things online with. We thought that would be a great way to get kids involved, because or adults, because everybody in the coin industry is always looking to learn. And so the best way to learn is to actually see a picture of a coin and then, you know, have it tied to memory with some, you know, key points to it.
Yeah.
And so I've got like ancient coins where I could say there's a test or a quiz for mythology. And so I have Greek coins that are coming up, or Roman reverse coins that are coming up with different myths. And then I give the, you know, who do you think this is, or whatever the situation is.
That's cool.
And so you can do it on mythology. You can do it all. I mean, there's all kinds of things you can do with quizzes. And I thought we could crowdsource it as well. So that was kind of the direction I went, but then I stopped, and now I'm more involved with Roundtable. And so we're trying to think of ways of getting blockchain involved with Roundtable if we want to go that route. But it's a slippery slope, because a lot of people are afraid of blockchain because they can only think of Bitcoin. They can't get past the Bitcoin thing. So, right, exactly.
Well, no,
so
it's a good way to have a ledger and accountability, but also have some anonymity as well, where there's some privacy along with that. So yeah, it's a good fit.
And in the blockchain community, unless you have an MVP, nobody wants to talk to you. Right. They want you to build the whole thing. So, and then they'll come in and sweep you up and take you to new plateaus, I guess. But you know, I it's a joke to me, because I'm also starting from the other direction. Most blockchain companies, their tech guys don't know anything about the industries that they're creating blockchain for, and then they try to get it adopted into those those industries. Where I'm already in depth into the industry, and I'm trying to go the other direction. And I can't get anybody to like jump on board. But, you know, so it's kind of, at the moment, it's kind of, you know, I'm not going to lie, it's just kind of sitting there right now. And I'm just waiting for the right possibility, the right investors, the right connections to come along and work together. My whole intention with any of this stuff, whether it's Roundtable or Artified, it's not to make millions of dollars. I think that comes if it comes, you know. My whole point is that I want to make our industry better, and if I create some great connections for myself, that's going to help me make sales and create better business for me anyway. All those residuals do good things for me, right? So it's not about making money just on that specific project. It's about creating projects that are going to make our industry better, which then makes me better, which makes the industry stronger.
Yeah,
so that's what it all is about.
If you're serving a purpose and you're solving a need, then I agree. It's the rest of it's going to come along with it.
I mean, even Roundtable, you know, I don't make a penny off Roundtable, and I bust my butt on Roundtable.
You do,
and it's not.
Yeah.
To me, it's not about making money. If I make money down the road, great, you know. But I also want to make the industry, and I want to make Roundtable wonderful, because I'm kind of sick and tired of the organizations not doing anything, and I feel like Roundtable is one of the best organizations that I've ever been a part of, and that can make change. And make change quickly, and it's all built organically on Facebook, and it's all the younger dealers, the beginning, you know, it's the next generation of dealers. So, you know, the old guys, there are some old guys on there that have been on there for a long time, that are on Roundtable, and we need their advice and their help as well. Yeah, sure. Any of these guys.
Guys like that, yeah.
I mean, Jeff Garrett, I mean,
Yeah.
it's, I mean, no bigger name in the business than that.
That's
so,
so he's a legend.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And with good reason. So, but, I feel like there's too much politics involved in some of the organizations and nothing ever gets finished. And there's a lot of money that's been built up in those organizations and they're not spending it wisely either.
Yep.
And they haven't been spending it wisely for a long time.
Right.
And what really took me with Roundtable is that when somebody had a problem, I don't know, somebody was dying of cancer. I don't remember what the situation was. And in one weekend, we raised $20,000 for the family just through the Roundtable members. Just pushing it and saying, hey, give some money, help the family out. Somebody else, there's a woman on there who was complaining she was having trouble with her bills. We raised $5,000 for her. I mean,
Awesome.
it's just, that's really what Roundtable is about for me. And I'm also obviously probably haven't figured out by now, I'm an idea guy.
Big time.
And so Roundtable gives me the ability to work with Rob and other guys in Roundtable to implement new ideas for our industry, which is in dire need. So,
absolutely.
So I love it all. I think it's great. It's time consuming, but it's I like the action.
I mean, the truth is the future of the industry is up to us because a lot of the guys that have been at the top of the industry for the last couple decades are getting really old. Some of them are retiring. Some of them are closing down their shops. So, I mean, we're at that point. We're all in our 30s and 40s here. So we're going to kind of be that next generation. And so it's up to us to make the industry the way that we see it best serving the public and ourselves. And so we're really excited to be part of this group. I think we're going to do some great things together. And I love where this is going right now.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it on the head. I mean, we're all in the same boat, and if we work together collectively, we can do some really wonderful things. If we work against each other, which is what has always happened in the industry, because I always found that a lot of times there's a lot of backstabbing in the industry.
It's crazy.
And it gets ugly, and really, it's not doing anybody any good. Okay, when the industry was gangbusters and everybody was fighting over everything. And there was lots of money around, I could kind of understand it a little bit, but I think that we got to get past that, and we have to realize that, look, the average age of an ANA member is 65 and older.
Right.
So,
that future,
right, and that means two things. That either means that there's not enough ANA members that are joining that are young, which means that as a whole, the organization is dying, or there's just not enough new collectors and dealers in the industry. So I think it's a little bit of both.
Things. And then I think if I were a young collector and I was on Facebook buying from silver miners or stackers or any of those groups, and they kind of have their own community policing, I would be saying to myself, what's in it for me to join this organization when I have to pay, $80 or $100 a year? I don't know what the individual membership.
I think the lowest is like $25 or something, but it might be more than that. But it's not expensive. In fact, Slab City just asked, and it's not expensive. Just go to their site. But
whatever
also,
the case, they may be looking at that and going, okay, we have this community already that kind of does all the things that I may want that organization to help protect me from or provide me with information or whatever they may want the ANA for. So they're asking themselves, why would I pay the fee?
Right. I mean, we're trying to change some of that too. Rob is actually running for governor. He was asked to run for governor for ANA.
Oh yeah, he's got my vote.
So he's got mine as well. So my sister, Shanna, is also in the industry. She's an ancient coin dealer, and she's also running for governor as well. So, we're getting some younger people, women, involved in ANA, and whether or not they can make some changes. I mean, the advantage with Rob being on there is that he's got 1,000 dealers behind him, that can make some change. So what he has to say, even though he would be a new guy, a new face in the space, his voice would have a huge amount of weight, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Because it'd be silly to denounce or say something against what he has to say, just the fact that he has that much that many people or followers behind him that are willing to, to stick up for him and actually follow him. So
exactly.
Yeah. So
awesome, man.
yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to work with you guys as well.
Yeah,
I think that, we both realize that we're kind of on the similar path, and so it made sense to work together than to work against each other.
Absolutely.
And again, that's all about what we're talking about right now. We're all talking about working together and doing the right things. That's why whenever, my forte is ancient coins and antiquities, so a lot of people don't know about that stuff. I get tons and tons of questions every day on Facebook from dealers and collectors, but mostly dealers. And
Right.
I have no problem helping them out. Doesn't cost me. I don't make a dime off of it, but who knows? I mean, you can't quantify everything. One of these guys might get a good deal or a big client someday, and they'll buy a coin from me. So that's the advantage. And at the same time, I'm also helping grow ancient coins, because a lot of these guys don't know ancient coins. They don't feel comfortable. And so if they have somebody to help pick the brain and help make the right decisions so they don't lose their butt, then that's also a positive too. So again, just going back to that, if we all work together as a collective whole, we're going to do much better.
Absolutely. Yeah, this generation, I think, can be better than the generation before. I think if more people adopt that attitude, it's just going to benefit everybody. And I think we can get that done. I think with the right promotion, the right encouragement, the right attitude about this, it's within our grasp. And that's the way I see things playing out.
It's all built on social media. That's where a lot of this is going on right now. And so the larger organizations aren't really attacking that in the same way, and that's why it's really to our advantage, because the other beautiful thing about the coin industry is that because it's a small industry in general, we can all make big changes collectively very fast. And that's, you can't really do that in all industries. And
just real quick,
that's a beautiful thing.
For Slab City Precious Metals, looks like you want to learn about ancient coins. I would find Harlan J. Berk Numismatics or Aaron Berk on Facebook, and also Roundtable TV. Aaron posts a ton about ancient coins, and I'm a U.S. expert. That's where I've spent 15 years in my career in daily study. I don't know that much about ancients, and I have learned a ton watching Aaron's videos, watching Aaron's flat posts. A lot of the stuff that he puts on there is very usable, practical information, and I think it'd give you a wealth of knowledge if you went to his Facebook pages.
Yeah, also
actually
on
just
LinkedIn as well. Yeah, Aaron's really good on LinkedIn too.
I also just implemented, because I realized, and this is kind of how new ideas develop, so I started doing putting a video of an ancient coin and flipping it, on Facebook and on Instagram and things like that, and on YouTube. And and I realized that photos only tell half the story. And if the photo isn't great, it's going to even tell less of the story. And so now I implemented a system with my own website where I have a video of every single ancient coin. But that's what we're starting now. So our new list has now all video of every coin, whether it's $100 or it's $10,000. It doesn't matter. And to me that it's not only teaching, you don't have to buy a $10,000 coin to view the image and learn something. See what luster looks like. See what the edge of the coin looks like. I'm sorry, if you hold a slab in your hand, you're not going to learn the same things. But you can actually visually see the edge and the surface and the luster on my videos. And I'm hoping other people in the industry kind of follow that suit as well, because I think it'll help teach a lot. It actually can show you what a fake might look like if there's a fake there. So these are the kinds of things that are born through social media and through some of these ideas that we implement on social media. They can actually become reality in real life. And so I think it's exciting.
It really is. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, it's awesome to see where this is going. Well, thanks for taking a little bit of your family time with us today. I know you got the kids today.
Sure.
But we always enjoy talking to you and kind of these like theoretical discussions we have and kind of where we see the industry going. It's always cool to kind of jam on that with you. So really appreciate you jumping in with us live. I hope we can do this every once in a while and kind of
that's awesome.
Get really hands-on with our communities here.
Yeah, you know I don't mind talking, so it's okay.
Yeah. I don't think any of us do.
No.
All
It's so
right,
funny, you know, when I did just one last thing, people, if you're afraid of making videos for the video contests or just creating a YouTube channel or whatever, you're holding a phone in front of your face or your camera on your computer. You just have to forget anybody's there. It's not like standing in front of a crowd. You're not going to get the same kind of stage fright. And once you start talking, it's not a big deal. And half the time when I do videos with my staff members, they're terrified. And then when it's done, I'm like, was it that bad? And they're like, no. And it's like, so,
The truth is, I understand where people are coming from. I struggled with it actually for months, and I'm an outgoing person. I do great public speaking. I've kind of always been that way, but for some reason, when it came to putting myself on video to start talking about what I know about coins, it took me a long time. John and I.
I'm a shy guy.
For months.
I'm a shy guy. I don't. If you find me at a party, I'm the one who doesn't talk. So
seriously,
it's just how I am. Yeah,
really,
that's how I am.
Oh,
yeah.
I never would have guessed that.
Yeah, I'm just but I love what I do for a living, and I love sharing what we have, and so it's pushed me to create a different different outlook
side of yourself.
for myself. Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
it's helped me grow.
Wow.
It's actually helped me grow as a person, believe it or not. So you have to look at the positive. I'm actually a very humble person, and so you have to kind of put your humility aside and jump in full on if you want to get anywhere in life. But you can still have humility and do it properly without endangering your personality or who you are as a person.
Right. Exactly. So if you're out there and you're thinking about creating a video and maybe you've been struggling with the idea a little bit, you kind of can't get over the hump, just do one and see how it goes. Do your first one today.
Give it a shot.
Try it out. I guarantee you will be better when the video's over than when you started.
100%.
Cheryl says you can learn so much by observing others when at parties. I totally agree. I love people watching. It's so much fun.
It's the best.
Then you don't have to worry about the one that everybody's looking at.
Yeah. No, I'm a people watcher too. I get it, but I also like to participate. So I'm a little bit of both.
Yeah, I yap at parties a little bit myself too. So.
Yeah.
Especially after
well,
that
it's been
first
great,
drink.
guys.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
You give John
I'm the same.
one craft beer, and he's giggling like a little schoolgirl within minutes.
The rest of the night.
Pretty awesome.
That's it. I'm a cheap date. I'm a cheap date. So.
Yeah, my inhibition.
Well, thanks again for joining us, man.
All right, Aaron.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. Have a nice Sunday.
All right, we'll see you soon.